Hello guys, and welcome back to another Etheria restart video. As you know, Kethos just got nerfed, and even though his damage got reduced and his cooldowns adjusted, he might still be one of the most toxic PvP units in the entire game. Let's start with what actually changed. Across his kit, his damage scaling took a clear hit. His skill 1 dropped from 30% to 28% of his max HP, skill 2 went from 36% to 33%, and his skill 3 damage per hit was reduced from 20% to 18%. On top of that, his passive, arguably the strongest part of his kit, was also adjusted. After triggering his turn skip mechanic, it now goes on a 4-turn cooldown instead of 3. On paper, that sounds like a meaningful nerf. Less damage and less frequent turn stealing. But here's the issue. Kethos was never broken because of his damage. What makes him oppressive is his control. His passive still allows him to build stacks whenever enemies use skills. And once he reaches 3 stacks, he immediately cuts in line and takes the next turn, forcing an enemy to completely skip theirs. That mechanic alone can decide games, and it's still fully intact. And in fast-paced PvP matches, where abilities are constantly being used, those stacks build quickly enough that opponents are always under pressure, forced to play around the threat of losing a turn at any moment. Then, you look at the rest of his kit. His skill 3 is still overloaded. It strips all buffs on the first hit, applies a guaranteed 3-turn defense break on the second, and then steals 100% of the target's turn meter on the third. That's not just strong, it's a complete shutdown of a key unit. His skill 2 is just as problematic in a PvP setting, hitting all enemies while increasing their cooldowns, often with a guaranteed chance if Kethos has higher HP, which he almost always will. That means entire teams can get locked out of their core abilities at once, especially early in the fight, which is often when PvP matches are decided. So even after the nerf, Kethos still controls the pace of the match. He delays your abilities, steals your turns, and punishes you for simply playing the game. And because his damage scales off max HP, he naturally builds tanky, making him harder to remove before he starts taking over. That combination of durability and control is exactly what keeps him so oppressive. In terms of performance, he's slightly less forgiving than before. You can't just throw him into any team and expect instant results. You'll need better timing and a bit more support to maximize his passive cycles. But once he gets going, the experience is almost identical to pre-nerf. He still creates those situations where the enemy team can't act. Their cooldowns are pushed back, and he chains multiple turns together to snowball the fight. And in longer fights, that value only becomes more noticeable as he cycles his abilities repeatedly. The extra cooldown on his passive slows him down a bit, but it doesn't address the real issue, his ability to completely take over turn order. And in a PvP environment, that's everything. Even one well-timed passive proc can flip an entire match, especially at higher levels, where fights are often decided by a single momentum swing. At the end of the day, any unit that can skip turns, steal turn meter, and increase cooldowns will always be a top-tier threat, unless those mechanics are fundamentally changed. Kethos still does all of that, and he does it more consistently than most units in the game. So yes, the nerf lowered his numbers, but it didn't touch what actually makes him broken. He remains one of the strongest, most oppressive PvP units in the game. I hope you find this video helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.